In a world full of uncertainties, the news coming out of Jerusalem has left many perplexed and amazed. Jesus and angels have manifested themselves in this holy city, creating an unprecedented impact. Imagine the scene: heaven opening over the heart of Jerusalem, the city where spirituality and history converge, revealing a vision that defies all logic and human understanding. This apparition has generated a wave of questions and reflections around the world. What does this heavenly apparition in the heart of Jerusalem really mean? Is this a word from God to all people, a call to return to our most important beliefs and values? The first question leads us to explore the context and symbolism that Jerusalem has for different religions. This city has witnessed sacred history, spiritual battles, and also moments of hope and redemption. It is here, in this space so full of meaning, that the heavens have decided to manifest themselves in such an impactful way. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. These apparitions seem to be a powerful reminder of the importance of the connection between the divine and the human. The answer to the first question shows us that it is no coincidence that Jerusalem is the chosen setting for this manifestation. The city represents an intersection between the ancient and the modern, a meeting point for the hopes of millions of people over the centuries. It is as if the very stones of its streets, steeped in history and prayer, have cried out to heaven, bringing with them this heavenly vision as an answer. But if we think about what these holy figures are trying to tell us, the answer might be far greater than we think. This miracle could be calling us to reflect on the direction of our lives, on the need to stop in the midst of the daily bustle to listen to that whisper from heaven. Could this be a call to unity, peace, and love among peoples? At a time when conflicts seem to take over the world, the appearance of angels and Jesus in Jerusalem seems to be a light in the darkness, an invitation to all to return to the essential, to connect with the spiritual. Ultimately, it confronts us with the idea that miracles still happen, even in modern times, and that each of us has the capacity to witness them if we open our hearts and minds to hope. One of the aspects that resonates most from the recent events in Jerusalem is the sense of divine protection that has been present throughout Israel's history. From the conflict with Islamic State forces to modern accounts of storms rising up to serve as a protective barrier, the history of this nation seems to be marked by unwavering divine intervention. These contemporary events evoke ancient times, reminding us that the supernatural continues to envelop the streets and hills of Israel. In the present, when forces seem to overcome our resilience and uncertainties obscure our vision, we need guidance that shows us purpose and peace, even in the darkest of times. Do you wish to understand how the divine still manifests itself in critical moments? This is exactly what The Secret of Jesus' Apparitions offers: a path to clarity and peace through his revelations. This ebook delves into his prophecies and offers a glimpse of what lies ahead. It is available for free in the anchored commentary. Grab it now before editions run out. It is fascinating to think that, as in the biblical texts, divine manifestations continue to occur now as a testament to God's constant presence in the lives of his people. Stories of dust storms protecting Israel's borders and troops recounting visions of heavenly figures evoke the words of Psalm 91. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. In this context, these words resonate with renewed force, for modern accounts seem to confirm that even today, divine protection is tangible and real. Israel's resilience in the face of adversity is also a key element that connects with these recent appearances. This resilience goes beyond war stories. It is a spiritual resilience that has kept the Jewish people alive for millennia. Despite adversity, such as persecution and exile, Israel has emerged with a strengthened spirit, always maintaining its identity and faith. Could the appearance of angels in Jerusalem be a divine message reaffirming God's election of this people? It is important to note that divine interventions are not limited to what is visible. As the letter to the Ephesians expresses, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age." This ongoing spiritual struggle remains relevant, and it is comforting to think that, as in the past, the Archangel Michael and the heavenly armies continue to battle alongside those who seek light and righteousness. Jerusalem's role today seems inevitably connected to its prophetic importance in history. The prophet Zechariah spoke of Jerusalem's future as a chalice that will cause the nations to tremble. This image echoes what is happening today. Jerusalem, as a spiritual epicenter, seems to be once again at center stage, stirring hearts and evoking true reflections. It is not just another city, but the axis of a story that transcends generations, where the divine and the human intertwine to give meaning to our existence. The recent celestial manifestations could be an invitation to humanity to rediscover its spirituality. In the face of the conflicts and difficulties of the modern world, the vision of angels in Jerusalem emerges as a light that invites reflection and hope. Perhaps we are being called to look beyond the visible, to trust in a protection that, although we cannot always see, is there, guiding and watching over us at every moment. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, the heavenly manifestations over Jerusalem evoke a profound sense of mystery and challenge. It is impossible to ignore the mysterious lights that many describe crossing the night sky of this history-laden city. Have you ever wondered how the divine is still at work today? Don't miss your chance to discover it. Our free ebook is still available, but few copies remain. Apparition stories bring with them an atmosphere of reflection and questions about the spiritual direction of the world. In a world where conflict and chaos seem to be the norm, these heavenly signs feel like a direct message to those willing to observe. Jerusalem, with its ancient stones and the weight of thousands of years of sacred history, becomes the setting for events that seem to go beyond what we can understand. The streets vibrate with the voices of those who live there and with the palpable sensation of the supernatural. The figure of the Archangel Michael appears as a beacon of hope in the midst of uncertainty. Recent visions present him above the city, surrounded by a resplendent light reflected on the golden walls of the old city. Michael's presence symbolizes a kind of protection that, for many, transcends the earthly. It is as if the very essence of the city cries out for protection, and the heavens respond by sending this powerful protector. Beyond Michael's physical appearance, what stands out is what his presence represents. He is the defender, the shield against the forces of evil, and each of these visions serves as a reminder that although we may not always be able to see the divine, his influence is still there. The stories in Jerusalem tell of people who, faced with desperate situations, found in these manifestations a new reason to keep the faith. Angels are not simply observing, they are acting, reminding us that there is something greater watching over us. At a time when uncertainty defines daily life, the signs seen in the sky over Jerusalem seem to be a call to spiritual preparedness. It is not an invitation to fear, but to hope. Many of the witnesses to these events have spoken of the feeling of peace that comes over them, an inexplicable sense that, whatever happens, we are not alone. The light in the sky is a promise, a reminder that, In the midst of difficulties, there is a strength that invites us to move forward with faith and courage. The recent signs in the sky defy our understanding and indicate something greater and more significant. Those who witnessed the lights over Jerusalem recount impressive details. Angelic figures descending, surrounded by a radiance that illuminated the night. This vision led many to believe that these apparitions are only the prelude to something immense. The signs preceding the return of Jesus Christ are always described as times of turmoil. The heavens are said to open and reveal truths that we cannot ignore. The lights that cross the sky over Jerusalem, according to many witnesses, seem to follow a pattern, a divine language beyond the visible. Those present recount how an unexpected calm came over them as they watched the phenomenon, as if something higher was guiding the moment. The ancient scriptures prepare us for these events. In the book of Joel, it is mentioned, "And I will show wonders in heaven and on earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke." Although interpretations vary, many feel that these events are charged with an urgent message for mankind, a call to prepare. The lights in Jerusalem seem to be a warning, a reminder that there is a divine plan that is still unfolding. If these stories inspire you, imagine how much more you can discover. Our ebook explores each event of divine intervention in Israel. Be sure to get your free copy before they sell out. During these events, the appearance of the Archangel Michael has been a constant that cannot be ignored. The accounts of his presence described by those near the old city speak of an imposing figure, with a serene but powerful countenance, reflecting an intense light that filled those who saw him with hope. It is as if heaven had sent its best defender to ensure that the message is clear. Divine protection is still among us. Visions not only inspire, but also push us to question our role in this divine narrative. In the book of Daniel, Michael is described as the great prince who rises to protect his people. The lights, the angels, and the feeling of peace that enveloped Jerusalem seem to speak of a spiritual battle beyond the visible, a battle in which good continues to prevail. As the days progress, rumors of more apparitions multiply. Some speak of signs in the sky beyond Jerusalem, in places previously unimagined connected to these events. Perhaps this is all part of a preparation, an invitation for each of us to look beyond the everyday and ask ourselves if we are ready for what is to come. There is something afoot, something bigger than us, and all we can do is be attentive, our hearts open to the possibility that miracles still happen. In the midst of the quietest nights, when the city seems asleep and the air is filled with whispers, there are those who awaken with visions that defy logic. Men and women recount encounters in their dreams, encounters with a light-filled figure that radiates peace and hope. These are no ordinary dreams, they are soul-shaking visions. In the Gaza Strip, a region ravaged by endless conflict, the face of Jesus Christ appears in dreams to hundreds of people, bringing them a message that transcends any human boundary. In the darkness of Gaza, where suffering and despair seem to be part of daily life, these dreams have brought a glimmer of comfort. For many, it is the only light in the midst of such gloom. Families who have lost loved ones, children who have grown up amidst rubble and gunfire, and the elderly who have seen repeated generations face pain, now speak of a man of light who visits them, smiles at them, and speaks to them of a different future, one in which pain does not have the last word. A man named Samir, a fisherman from the Gaza coast, told how, in one such dream, Jesus spoke to him of peace. He was standing in front of me with a light that cannot be described. He told me not to fear that peace would come, but that I should open my heart and be ready for it. Samir's story is just one of many heard in the streets and homes of Gaza. These experiences have begun to raise questions, even among those who were previously skeptical about the possibility of divine interventions. As tensions continue in the region, these testimonies have become a rallying point for many. Those who feel trapped in an endless cycle of hatred and violence find these visions a respite. Stories of divine intervention are at your fingertips. Don't wait any longer to access this eye-opening book. There are only a few copies left for free download. The figure of Jesus, appearing in dreams, has become a symbol of resilience and hope, a sign that there is something beyond suffering, something that promises restoration and love. In the midst of this context, children also begin to talk about these visions. One 10-year-old girl, Layla, recounted how she saw a shining man who told her that everything was going to be okay, that she should not be afraid. For a generation that has seen more destruction than peace, these words are an indescribable relief. Mothers and fathers listen to their children with tears in their eyes, wishing for that promise to be fulfilled and for the violence to finally stop. Signs do not always manifest themselves in the sky with flashes and lights. Sometimes they reveal themselves in the hearts and minds of those who need hope the most. These encounters in Gaza seem to be a sign that even in the darkest of places, divine light can break through. And as the voices of those who have had these visions continue to be heard, one question hangs in the air. Will this be the beginning of a profound change, a call for peace in a place that needs it so badly? On one of the coldest nights, as Gaza seemed mired in its usual uncertainty, a group of men met in secret. It was not a political meeting or a talk of resistance. It was a spiritual gathering. Some shared their recent visions, others listened in awe, and some simply silently tried to understand what it meant to see Jesus in their dreams. Each of them had had the same figure in their minds, a radiant man calling them by name, offering comfort and unparalleled hope. One of the men, Omar, recounted his experience in a trembling voice. "I didn't understand what was happening," he said, "but I knew that what I was seeing was not just a dream. The figure spoke to me of love and asked me to forgive, even when hate seemed to be the only thing I knew." Omar, who had lost both of his brothers in the recent conflicts, never thought he could harbour anything other than grief. But there he was, ready to listen to that invitation that offered him more than revenge. On the other hand, Amal, a young mother who had lived between anguish and fear, shared how her dream led her to feel a peace she had never known. "Jesus showed me a crystal-clear river, a place without fear or violence. He told me that we all deserve that place, but we must first find peace within ourselves." His words brought tears to the eyes of those present. For those who have lived in a constant cycle of pain, hearing about a different future seemed almost miraculous. With each story, an invisible web was woven between them. These were not just isolated dreams, but experiences that began to connect and resonate deeply with each other. News of these visions began to spread, reaching even those who had never believed in the possibility of divine intervention. Skeptics, seeing the change in those who had had them, began to question whether something greater was really happening in Gaza. The encounters were not only transforming those who dreamed, the community as a whole was beginning to change. Children, inspired by their parents' stories, began to draw figures of light on the bomb-damaged walls, filling the landscape with a strange but beautiful contrast. Walls that once showed only marks of war and despair now bore images of hope, of a man surrounded by light that seemed to radiate calm and protection. If this message makes you think and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us keep creating valuable content, consider giving us an super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. The nights in Gaza, despite the danger, were now also nights of stories, of shared dreams that gave meaning to what seemed to have no meaning. As men and women gathered by candlelight, a sense of community, of resistance through faith, began to be born. Each gathering became a small beacon in the midst of the darkness, a reminder that even in the most devastated place, the possibility of redemption could still flourish. These testimonies, silent but powerful, were the sign that profound change might be closer than they imagined.